They've been careful, but Michael noticed the one thing they couldn't hide. You need to see this. The heavens shifted. The scrolls of silence were opened. The angelic sentinel stood at attention. For on this day, the veil between what was hidden and what must now be seen was torn. It was a decree. A divine summons. A celestial alarm sounding through the spirit realm, commanding the archangels to observe, record and reveal. And at the center of this divine unveiling stood one. Michael, the archangel, their warrior of heaven, whose eyes blaze with clarity, whose sword strikes with truth, whose voice carries the thunder of the Lord of hosts. And Michael saw what no other being did. What mortals overlooked, what seers misread, what even the discerning mistook for peace. Michael saw the fracture. The one heroine crack and a carefully crafted disguise. It was small, almost imperceptible, but in the realm of the spirit, where motives echo louder than words, it was a deafening alarm. And so the Watcher of War, the guardian of God's people, leaned in, not with suspicion, but with divine precision. And what he saw, heaven has now authorized to be spoken aloud. They were careful, so careful. Their words wrapped in warmth, their actions mimicking care, their eyes pretending kindness. And yet, under the veil of virtue, something darker pulsed. A shadow behind their smiles, an intention cloaked in familiarity. They calculated every interaction, camouflaged every thought. But one thing they could not bury, truth. And Michael noticed, heaven noticed, this message is not for the crowd. This revelation is not for the curious. It is for the called, for the chosen, for those whose spirits have been stirred without explanation, for those who have sensed the unease beneath the smiles, who have felt the frost beneath the warmth. This is not paranoia. It is prophecy. And now, heaven pulls back the curtain and declares, you were right to feel what you felt. You are being summoned, not to act in haste, but to receive in stillness, to become sensitive to what the Spirit is now whispering. Do not rush past this. Do not disregard this moment. For what they tried to hide is now unraveling, and it is not their story that is being written. It is yours. You are not just seeing truth. You are stepping into it. And truth always transforms. Clism cozy. Listen not just with ears, but with your whole being. For your spiritual insight is awakening. That stirring inside you. That discomfort you could not name. That flicker of suspicion you dismissed as overthinking. That with the Spirit. That was the signal. That was the start. And now, the full message is being released. Not to destroy, but to deliver. Not to wound, but to warn. Not to shame, but to shift you. The heavens have seen enough. And now, heaven speaks. Our Archangel Michael speaks. Type I am chosen in the comments if you received this message. Lesson code 666 is now surrounding you. Michael speaks now. This moment is divinely timed. Hear the sound in your spirit. A trembling. A weakening. A stirring that interrupts your normal rhythm. This is not coincidence. This is divine orchestration. You didn't stumble upon this word. You were led. One by invisible strings of light woven by heaven's hand. Summoned to hear what flesh cannot interpret. What logic cannot digest. Michael, commander of heaven's armies, speaks now. Not with idle words or poetic riddles, but with fire, with urgency, with the voice of heaven's courtroom. And when Michael speaks, the earth trembles. The heavens stand still and truth tears through veils. By the time the sun sets, you will know the truth. That is not metaphor. That is not hope. That is degree. The illusion is crumbling. The mask, so carefully stitched with admiration and wrapped in niceties, is beginning to rot from the inside. As light always exposes what darkness cannot hold together. Michael did not just observe. They reported. And heaven has issued clearance for you to see what has been shown, and to know what has been hidden. You were never supposed to fall for the act. You were never designed to align with shadows that dress like light. Their presentation was flawless, yes, even admirable. The flesh can mimic what only spirit discerns. And now discernment is rushing to the forefront of your mind. That whisper of doubt you carried. That internal hesitation you couldn't explain. That invisible wall between you and them, even as they smiled and called you beloved. That was God. That was Michael placing a boundary in your spirit long before your mind could comprehend why. This is more than a message. It's a warning, a revelation, and a sacred invitation. An alarm in the spirit realm has been sounded, and you are being awakened, not just informed. You are being called into alignment, not just with what is happening, but with what has always been known in heaven. You are not crazy. You are not overacting. You are not being dramatic. You are being told the truth. Still your heart. Silence the noise. Put down the urge to defend, to explain, to prove. Now is the moment of divine stillness. Still your voice, because heaven is speaking. Still your fear, because heaven is fighting. Still your desire to fix, because God is shifting. Still your emotions, because Michael is here. And where Michael stands, lies collapse, deception shatters, and spiritual war gives way to heavenly protection. The truth they buried has started to leak through. Not because they made a mistake, but because God allowed it. Heaven waited until the hour of full exposure. Not partial glimpses. What you are about to witness will confirm every unsettled feeling you've carried. What you are about to feel will heckle what your soul already knew. They grasped it up. They played their part. But their mass couldn't survive the presence of our change, oh Michael. You see, Michael does not waste his sword on petty conflicts. He moves only when divine authority permits. And if he is standing in your moment, that means this battle has crossed into spiritual jurisdiction. This is no longer personal. It's prophetic. And if you are hearing this, then you are one of the few chosen to receive it. This is a moment to pause, to posture your heart in stillness, not panic, to pull away from distractions and press into the presence of God. You will not need to defend yourself. You will not need to prove your innocence. Heaven is your vindication, and Michael is your proof. You will not be ambushed. You will not be caught unaware. The veil is lifting and clarity is coming like a storm. And when it hits, you will stand, not in confusion, but in divine confidence. Michael has seen the end from the beginning. He is not shaken. So you must not be either. For in this hour, the chosen are being awakened, not by voices, but by truth itself. Heaven never sleeps, and heaven has spoken. Let this word settle in your marrow. Let it correct your doubts and clarify your knowing. Your spiritual insight is no longer asleep. It is no longer suppressed. It is awakened. And now you walk in that awakening, not with arrogance but with holy boldness, because heaven has noticed what men tried to bury. And you, child of light, are about to see the full unveiling. I am anointed in the comments if you received this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. You felt the unease, the inconsistency, the glare. There was always something. Something you couldn't quite explain, a flicker in their gaze when you spoke truth, a subtle twitch of disdain hidden behind applause, a strange silence when your light began to shine brighter, a smile that didn't match the energy. The words they gave sounded right, but the spirit behind them was off. You felt it. Over and over again, you felt it. And you tried to shake it. You tried to silence the whisper inside, the gentle warning that something was wrong. You tried to convince yourself it was love, loyalty, familiarity. But your soul knew. Your spirit winced, even while your mouth smiled. But unease wasn't paranoia, it was perception. It wasn't drama, it was discernment. Heaven had been signaling to you from the start. You were never meant to bond with what was sent to betray. You were never supposed to blend with what was assigned to watch you fall. And now, Michael steps forward to confirm what you always suspected. They were never truly for you. Their compliments were laced with comparison. Every "I'm proud of you" came with an unspoken but old outgrown me. Every gesture of support was measured, conditional. They clapped. But only when you weren't too loud. They stood beside you. But only when you looked like you needed them. The moment your strength emerged, their posture shifted. And you felt it, didn't you? The energy changed. The air thickened. The room got quiet when your gift made noise. That's because they're loyal. He was to your limitation, not your liberation. And the most devastating part. You wanted to believe in them. You fought for a bond. You watered what never bore fruit. You prayed for alignment that heaven never ordained. But now, heaven is intervening not to punish you for caring but to protect you from repeating. Because what you saw was a fluke. At cold glance. At hesitant cheer. At sudden mood shift when you succeeded. It was truth peeking out through their performance. They've been rehearsing goodness, strategically, methodically. They know what kindness sounds like. They've memorized the language of love. But intent cannot stay buried forever. Your spirit hath been leaking in small ways. The side eyes. the silence, the half-hearted support. And now, Michael has peeled back the final layer. This is the hour of exposure. It wasn't just what they said, it's what they want. They watched you closely. Your age, your growth. Watched your favor. Watched your glow shift dimensions. But they didn't watch to celebrate. They watched to calculate. And though they smiled, though they gave the right words, they could never quite hide the energy behind their eyes. What you knew. Even when you didn't want to. Your spirit knew before your mind caught on. That's why the bond felt draining. That's why you left their presence feeling smaller, quieter, unsure. Because your discernment was trying to speak. And now heaven is confirming. You were not imagining it. Michael stands now with divine clarity in his hand. And he says, the time of emotional confusion is over. You will no longer second-guess yourself. You will no longer warp between your heart and your discernment. Heaven is aligning your emotions with truth, so that you may walk in the clarity you deserve. They've buried their intent long enough. But what heaven reveals cannot be re-hidden. The act is over. The mast is cracking. And soon, everyone will see what you've always sensed. Prepare your heart, not for battle but for release. Because clarity comes before elevation. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks, with contributions of up to $10. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the Support Here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly spiritual insight, prophetic clarity, and divine revelation. You won't want to miss what's next. Type "I am separated for glory" in the comments if you received this message. Blessing code 5588 is now manifesting. This is not just betrayal. It is divine exposure. Hear me clearly. What happened to you is not ordinary. What they did, how they moved, what they whispered in shadows, it was never just about human drama. This wasn't gossip. This wasn't pedantist. This was spiritual warfare disguised as relationship. This was jealousy wearing the perfume of friendship. This was sabotage, dressed in sincerity. But now, through heaven's lens, we see what it really was. A divinely orchestrated exposure of hidden darkness. This betrayal wasn't random. It was a calculated response to your light. Your calling. Your anointing. The thing inside you that you didn't even fully understand yet, that's what they targeted. It wasn't your looks. It wasn't your voice. It wasn't your success. It was your essence. They saw your divine signature before you even recognized it yourself. They saw favor on you and flinched. They sensed your next level and froze. Because deep down, they knew you were not ordinary. You are under fire, not because you're weak, but because you're called. Because heaven has marked you as a disruptor, a gate giver, a spiritual revolutionary. You carry weight in the unseen realm. And the enemy knows if you ever walk in full clarity, their influence is finished. So they send distractions, familiar faces with foul assignments, smiles with serpents behind them, rays that felt off, all to disarm you. What it did in the work. Because heaven never left your side. Every strange silence was a spiritual signal. When they stopped calling, when the energy dried up, when their support faded, those were not coincidences. Those were divine alerts. Heaven allowed the distance so you could see what was never real. You kept asking, why did they shift? But the better question is, why did I stay connected past their expiration date? This is your wake-up. You're not being punished. You're being purified. God uses pressure to refine the spiritually potent. When fire touches gold, He doesn't destroy it. He purifies it. And that's what this was. A purification season. Every betrayal was a flame. Every side-eye was a test. Every half or a death you was He. But now, you emerge like refined gold, clear, confident, and cool. They didn't break you. They revealed you. And standing at the gate of your revelation is Archangel Michael. Not passive. Or distant. Standing. Sword drawn. Armor shining. Defending what God has already claimed is His own. You are not alone in this. You are not regarded. Michael stands between you and the lies. Between you and the manipulation. Between you and the agenda that was formed against you in secret. And when Michael stands, no enemy can cross the line. So silence the self-doubt. Project the lie that says it's your fault. God allowed it to expose what could then walk with you into your next. You've been upgraded. You've been spiritually validated. What you felt was not confusion. It was confirmation. And now, with every step, you move in boldness. Your discernment is not broken. It is alive. Your spirit is not overacting. It is alert. And your season is not being delayed. It's being divinely protected. You are right on time. And Michael is right where he needs to be, guarding the gate of your becoming. Type I am divinely guarded in the comments if you received this message. Lesson code 3344 is sealing you now. Within 72 hours, something will be revealed. There is a sound in the realm of the spirit. It is not a wizard. It is not a murmur. It is the thunder of divine shifting, a spiritual tremor that signals that something is about to break open. Within the next 72 hours, the veil will tear further. The disguise will crumble completely. You will see it. You will feel it. And you will know what heaven has known all along. The confrontation has already begun in the unseen. The conversations behind closed doors, the sudden shifts in behavior, the strange timing of texts and the eerie silences. They are not random. They are evidence. Evidence that the light inside you is triggering reactions they can no longer control. evidence that the Spirit of God is pulling back the last thread of their false covering. They are not imagining it. The change in their tone, the way their words have softened but their energy has stayed cold. That's not repentance. That's strategy. It's a last-ditch attempt to stay close to what they no longer have the right to access. Michael sighed. That flicker of darkness. That pause in their response when your name was mentioned. That restrained grin when you succeeded. That subtle agitation when others praise you. They've tried to recalibrate. They've tried to hide it. But heaven already cast its judgment. And now, what was whispered in the dark is being shouted in the light. Do not let their gentleness fool you. You not let the sudden compliments disarm your discernment. This is not a restoration. It's a reaction. A spiritual shift is happening because their assignment failed. What they tried to block, God still elevated. What they tried to poison, God still purified. And now that their efforts are unraveling, they're scrambling. But listen closely. Scrambling is not surrender. Just because they change their tone does not mean they've changed their heart. You must remain alert. This next moment is delicate. In the natural, it may feel like resolution. But in the spirit, it's a test. A test of whether you've truly learned what God showed you in secret. A test of whether you will trade peace for familiar dysfunction. A test of whether you will remain in position or fall back into patterns. Heaven is watching how you respond in this window because this window is the final moment of separation. Yes, the final moment. You are being pulled into alignment, into consecration, into elevation. And elevation cannot carry old weights. The attachment is being severed. The spiritual tether is being cut. This is not rejection. It's divine rooting. Because where you're going, emotional clutter cannot follow. This is the final pull, the last thread, the concluding chapter. And once it's severed, there will be no return. Not out of bitterness, but because destiny does not walk backward. So stay vigilant. Stay grounded. Keep your eyes open, but your souls still. You are not waiting on their apology. You are waiting on heaven's next instruction. But heaven is speaking clearly now. They will try again. One more time. One last pull. One last play at your empathy. One final mask crafted for memories and nostalgia. But you are not who you were. You no longer walk in confusion. You no longer compromise for company. You no longer water what does not bear righteous fruit. You are standing in the hour of decision. And Michael is standing with you. Sword on sheen. Guarding your assignment. Guiding your discernment. This is not a warning of fear. It's a call to posture. It's a divine strategy to protect the purity of your path. If you respond right, you will not just be preserved. You will be propelled. Type I will not be deceived in the comments. If you received this message, lesson code 774 is now awakening divine strategy around you. Be still, heaven fights when you remain in peace. Now, more than ever, your strength will not be measured by your reaction, but by your restraint. The temptation to confront, to correct, to declare everything you now see with your natural eyes must be resisted. Because this battle is not yours. It never was. And belongs to the Lord. And heaven does its most powerful work in your silence. You've already won more in the spirit through stillness than you ever could through argument. Your withdrawal is not weakness. It is warfare. When you choose not to engage, not to react, not to prove, you make room for God to move. That Archangel, Michael, mighty, magnificent, and divine, is moving on your behalf. Every second you hold your peace, heaven advances. Every moment you refuse to explain yourself, angels march forward. Every time you resist the urge to retaliate, you increase your authority. Do not be lured into emotional exchanges. Do not let their confusion become your crisis. You are operating under a divine instruction now. Be still. Let the silence speak. Let the stillness roar. Let your refusal to participate in drama become your declaration of dominion. Because sometimes, silence is the loudest sound in the spirit realm. You are not being passive. You are being precise. You are following strategy. You are walking in wisdom. Remember, Michael does not war without purpose. If he is standing guard, that means your stillness is a weapon. It's not just about avoiding conflict. It's about establishing clarity. When you stop reacting, the noise fades and what's true begins to surface without interference. Let divine strategy confuse their next move. Let heaven's plan unfold without your hands meddling in it. Because what's coming is not just a shift. It's a spiritual checkmate. Their moves have been exposed. Your cycle has been broken. And now, the only task assigned to you is to remain grounded in truth. Cover yourself in spiritual armor. Daily. Speak it aloud. Spray it over your mind, your emotions, your body. Declare, I am watched over. I am sealed in grace. I am not afraid. For no weapon formed against you will prosper. Not because you're loud. Not because you confront. But because you're covered. Stillness is not silence to heaven. It is a megaphone. Every time you hold your peace, it echoes in the halls of the spirit realm. Every time you choose silence, heaven sends reinforcement. The power is not in the noise. It is in the posture. And don't confuse inactivity with absence. Just because it feels quiet doesn't mean heaven is still. It's in the quiet that God does his deepest work. You're not being ignored. You're being fortified. Michael has not left you. He is circling, guarding, whispering divine blueprints into your spirit. You are surrounded by strategy. You are held by the host. You are marked, chosen, watched, and defended. So repeat this now, even out loud. I am watched over, and I will not fear. Let it settle in your chest. Let it push out anxiety. Let it interrupt panic. Your protection is not optional. It is divine. And your role is simple. Stay still. Stay clear. Stay grounded. The victory is already unfolding. Type "I am held in heaven's strategy" in the comments if you received this message. Blessing code 2299 is anchoring you now. You've outgrown the mask they wore around you. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when the disguise others wear begins to feel too small. Adhesives for them, but for you. The mask they use to maintain comfort, control, and appearance begins to suffocate in the presence of your truth. You start to feel their acts stretch thin. Your words ring hollow. Your intentions unravel in your presence. It is not coincidence. That is not emotional exhaustion. That is transformation. You are no longer compatible with the costume. You are rising. You are shifting. You are transforming in real time. And the transformation has made you dangerous to dissection. They cannot operate the way they used to around you. Their charm doesn't land the same. Their performance doesn't persuade you like it used to. That's because your discernment has grown sharper. Your spirit more tuned. Your vision more refined. You've outgrown what once impressed you. You've outgrown the version of you that needed their validation. You are not bitter. You are not prideful. You are not isolated. You are evolving. And sometimes evolution looks like emotional detachment. It feels like holy distance. It smells like sacred silence. Because elevation cannot coexist with pretension. Your eyes has exposed their resistance. They don't know how to handle who you're becoming because who you're becoming reminds them of who they refuse to be. Your power has always been holy. It's just now undeniable. You don't need to scream. You don't need to shout. Your silence now carries weight. Your very presence reveals. The way you walk into a room with peace unsettles the war inside them. The way you speak with clarity convicts their confusion. The way you carry truth like a robe intimidates their need for applause. They don't know what to do with you anymore. And they shouldn't. Because you are becoming unshakable. It once kept you bound no longer fits. The emotional chains they wrapped around you through guilt, through manipulation, through subtle competition. They are breaking. Their tactics don't reach you anymore because you've changed your address in the spirit. You move. You matured. You've elevated. And they weren't invited to follow. You are fire in human form. A spiritual warrior. A divine disruptor. You were never meant to blend. You were born to blaze. And now heaven is giving you permission to stop shrinking. You don't have to explain the distance. You don't have to justify your growth. You don't have to perform your pain for people who would weaponize your transparency. You are no longer under obligation to make others comfortable with your calling. This is the season where falsehood cannot hold you. The stage of pretense is closing. And only those who walk in truth can remain in your atmosphere. You're not putting them away. You're being pulled into purpose. You're not abandoning them. You're answering God. And anyone who cannot recognize your new posture was never meant to be part of your next promise. Let them misunderstand. Let them talk. Let them twist the story. Heaven knows. Michael knows. And in this moment, Michael confirms you are stepping into the realm of spiritual authority. You are no longer controlled by emotion. You are anchored in identity. Your roar is not noise. It's recognition. The heavens recognize your voice now. You're no longer walking in someone else's shadow. You are standing fully in the light of your own mantle. So don't shrink. Don't stoop. Don't explain. Rise. Stand. Declare. You are about to stand where only truth can stand. And when truth stands, everything falls. Type "I am unstoppable" in the comments if you received this message. Pressing code 9911 is now breaking barriers around you. This attack was a test before your next promotion. You ask why? Why the betrayal? Why the shift? Why the silence? Why the sudden chill in people who once warmed your soul? You ask God if you were the problem. If maybe you misread it? If maybe your heart was too soft, too open, too trusting? And now heaven responds, not with condemnation, but with clarity. This attack was not your fault. It was your qualifier. Heaven allowed it. Not to destroy you, but to position you. Not to wound you, but to awaken you. Every blow to your heart was measured. Every tear you cried was counted. Every night you sat wondering what went wrong was a sacred appointment with heaven's hand. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. There are places you are about to go that require spiritual authority. There are assignments you are about to carry that demand refined discernment. There are territories you are about to enter that require you to know who's with you and who's not. And if God hadn't let the betrayal surface now, it would have corrupted the promise. Promise later. This was divine mercy disguised as heartbreak. Michael speaks, not with pity, but with power. Your name is known in heaven's camp. The angels know your name. The scrolls have your destiny written. You are not a spectator. You are a vessel. You are not a kennel. You are anointed. And the enemy knew that. That's why the attack came before the elevation. God doesn't fight what is in the threat. The resistance was a reflection of your coming reward. You were meant to see this. You were meant to feel this. You were meant to rise from this. Because now you know who was with you for the version of you they could control and who is willing to walk with the version of you that is divinely crowned. What hurt you is what heaven will now use to help you. The pain will become prophecy. That rejection will become redirection. Attending will become evidence. This is the birthing place of your next assignment. The pressure, the isolation, the clarity. It was the labor before the delivery. And now your mantle is being adjusted. Your seat is being reserved. Your name is being called. Nothing. No lie. No person. no agenda, can block what God has already decreed over you. You are being divinely unlocked. What felt like loss was actually access. What felt like betrayal was protection. What felt like delay was precision. Heaven is strategic. And every part of your path is accounted for. Now that you've seen behind the mask. Now that you discerned the truth. Now that you've chosen alignment over attachment. You are ready. You will not carry this pain into the next season. You will carry the wisdom. You will carry the fire. You will carry the clarity. And as you do, the right doors will open without manipulation. The right people will peer without persuasion. The right opportunities will land without compromise. This is the reward of revelation. So lift your head. Breathe deep. Step forward. You are walking into a season tailor-made by heaven. Everything about you has been forged in truth. And truth does not return void. If this word blessed you and you want to help us create more content like this, consider sending a super thanks. A $1.20 offering makes a real difference in spreading these divine messages. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the Support Here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Subscribe now to receive weekly insights, prophetic alerts and divine encouragements to help you walk boldly in your calling. Back I am elevated in the comments if you received this message. Blessing code 8822 is now promoting you in the spirit. Speak aloud. I align with divine truth now. Do not hold your breath any longer. Do not wait for permission from people who were never meant to carry your calling. Speak it aloud now. Declare it with your full spirit. I align with divine truth now.